Hey there, I'm Bradley Hubbard and welcome to Notion. We're going to go over how to look at the interface and make sure that you're not confused about what you're looking at because it can be a lot. I understand Notion is a lot. So let's dive right in to understand what we're looking at. Right off the bat, you see that we're on a page. Notion does have a home page, but the home kind of comes in when you started using it. Before you start using it, all you're presented with is a blank page. And the thing I like to show a lot of people I tell a lot of people is basically Ivan Zhou's vision for this. When he created Notion, he imagined a software like paper. Basically, if you can write it down on paper, he wanted to be able to put that into a digital tool as well. So when you're looking at this, if you imagine that what you're looking at is a digital piece of paper, it starts to make a lot more sense. In books, when you put that together, you have a table of contents that's very similar to the sidebar over here. You'd be able to go to your pages directly from here. If we add a new page, you'll see that it pops over. We'll click new page. You'll see that it pops over to the left over there. The cool thing about these pages though is that you have settings. Imagine if our notebooks for school had settings and we could say small text. Or if we had one of these little notebooks and we said full width and we wanted it to go to a full width. That's essentially what you have inside a Notion, and it's a free-form, flexible, basically sandbox to organize anything that can be written down. So starting off on the left, you have your sidebar where you're going to be able to see your pages that you set up, and it's going to be broken down into separate sections. Starting off, you only have a private section, but as you build this out, people will share this with you in the top right, and they'll give you individual access to pages that will create a shared section on the sidebar. When you favorite a page, that creates a separate section on the sidebar. So it's essentially building out your table of contents in the way that you want, or if you wanted to favorite multiple pages, you put that into your favorite section over there, and you're good to go. And now that we're on the page that we're going to edit, I'll show you a little bit about how to navigate the sidebar. I already showed you what the sections were on the sidebar, but one of the cool things is because the sidebar is a direct reference to this page, you can essentially build it out with subpages. So if we had something like a divider to add some space, and then we added a page below it, you'll see subpage right here. And when we're on the top page, it's created right there. So if we want to go into that subpage, we'd be able to see into there, and we'll do it one more time just to show you like there is. I added divider everything, so slash page, and you'll see that there are now a subpage and a subpage if you wanted to go that route. Or so you can navigate there directly from the sidebar. You can close the sidebar for a clean access to the on-page editing features. And regarding the on-page editing features, when you're here, it's relatively simple if you've used any block format editor. But if you haven't used blocks before, it can be a little bit confusing. So what I'm going to do is turn this to a different color to let you see how blocks stack. So if we had multiple blocks, every time I hit enter, you're able to see that the 6 dot icon comes up. So coming down, here is a 6 dot icon. And what that 6 dot icon is basically the menu option, where if I wanted to drag this page around, I can move it around on my page, similar to like a block on Tetris. So when we're building out our pages, we can kind of think long term and decide how we want to build this out and build it out in the format that we're looking for. So if we wanted to do something like a slash command to create a heading, we would say that this is section 1. It allows us to essentially break up that page how we want and how we see fit. So adding that divider to add some space, and you can see that I'm just basically dragging it around. I'll click that 6 dot icon and put it wherever I want, and you can essentially do that to any block that exists. And when you click into that 6 dot rather than hold it, it gives you the actual menu to manipulate that. One cool thing about Notion is because everything is in a block, this is a block, the H1 is a block, this page is a block. One cool thing is you can turn it into a different block. It maintains the original value, so if I had this section 1, I can click turn into and turn that into a to-do list. Rather than a header, it doesn't lose any of the values, it just maintains it and turns it into a different format. Likewise, turn it into a callout. You can turn things into numbered lists. You can basically turn it into Most of the common block types, you can't turn it into a database, but that's for another lesson, so don't jump the gun if you're with me. So up here, we're going to go ahead and delete that so you can get back to the standard pages. And now that we're on the new page, we are cruising along in this demo. I'm going to show you a basic database format and how that affects the sidebar, because navigation, once you understand the sidebar, it becomes worlds easier. So if we're over here in the favorites, let's go down to the private, and you'll see that inside the new page, there's that subpage. So I'm going to delete getting started because it is a little bit confusing. And now that we're on the new page, you have that subpage. What I'm going to show you is creating a basic database. So you can use that / command / database, and you're able to pull up any of the database views. If you didn't know, it's very similar to that block format where the values don't change, just how you're looking at it changes. So if you wanted to see it look in a basic table format, kind of like Excel, you're able to see it that way. Board format, you're able to drag and drop. So I'm not going to go over that. That's in another video as well. So go into the table view, creates a basic database. We're going to create a new table, and this will be our all tasks database. So we are in Brad's Notion, so that's the modifier we use to find it. I'm going to hide that so it's just tasks. So now that we have our database created, the thing that I wanted to show you is that that database comes over to the subpage as well. But one thing that you're going to notice, if I put this is a page, it's not going to go over to the sidebar. Only the view from this database is going to go to the sidebar. So if I add a list, you'll see the same pages, page 1, page 2, page 3, in a list format. Same exact pages, just in a different format. And you'll see that list pops over here. If we rename it, this will be quick list. That the view copies over there as well. So understanding that the subpages inside a database don't show up on the sidebar, that allows you to keep your sidebar very clean, where if you wanted to add information to this particular page, you can even get subpages in here. So I'll do this is info, and we'll do /page. By creating that page, I'll go back to the top one, there is a subpage inside of the first database page. But nothing happened to the sidebar. Because that's housed in a block, which is called a database block, it's not going to show on the sidebar. Hope that makes sense. So using that format, you can really build this out to organize like a crazy amount. I'll show you this right here. So this is my personal dashboard. And because we have certain databases on the left, you don't see all the sub-content inside of it. So if we come up to the task manager, you're only going to see the views. But if I open up the all tasks view, I have over 1,000 tasks in this single database over here, but it doesn't clutter up my sidebar. Only the main pages, so if I wanted to go to the Eisenhower matrix, it's still connected to my task database, but it's a page within that database. So it's not going to show all of the tasks underneath of it. It's only going to show me the Eisenhower matrix that I have here set up. So it's a very clear way to keep your sidebar clear once you understand how it works and how to not show stuff on it. And you can already see that we're starting to build out our page over here. We're getting some databases in here. If we wanted to track something, we could add a tag and say that this is blue, green, red, and whatever pages we want to organize. Well, we already have our basic categorization set up. Next up, we have the top bar navigation. So right here, we see that we're on new page. We're going to change this to page about team. And it'll show on the top when we come up here that we're on page about the team. So if we go to the sub-page, look at the breadcrumb up on the top, you can see that we're in the sub-page, which is a sub-page of page about team. And we can navigate back and forth using this top bar. If you want to get a little bit more in depth, go into the database and you'll be able to see that I'm in page 1 of the database all tasks, which is housed in page about the team. So you can kind of see that the navigation is pretty simple. You have the standard back arrows to move you forward and backwards, but if you want to get to a direct page, you can always click right on the top. After that, we have the share menu. If you want to share any page, you can put it to a live website with a click of a button. As soon as I click publish, would you look at that? It's ready to go. So anybody can come to this page. I can share this link with them, and they'll be able to go see this page and even duplicate it if they wanted to bring it into their own workspace. You can do things like set the link to expire, customize it a little bit to turn it into a full website, and then when you're ready to share this, you can just give them the link. You can also use that to invite people directly to the page if they're part of your workspace, or if you want to add them as a guest. The basic account allows 100 guests, and if you have plus or teams, I believe it's 250 guests. So guests are free to add to any page, add them to as many as you want. Moving on, we have the comments, where you can add a comment to the top level of that page. This is a top level comment where you can come in here and say that I had an opinion, and then you're just going to click the send to send it. Once it's done, you can click resolve, and that goes back to the comment section. And to find those, you're going to have to click resolve, so all those comments are right there. Moving it on, or the next button on the top bar is the view all updates. So anything that's happened on the page, you can see analytics of that right there. Favorites, you can pop it onto your favorites as you see there. Moving it on to the settings, you have a few different texts that you can use. Default, serif, and mono. You can also change it to small text and go through this to use all the different settings. There is a video on all the settings if you want to get into that. But this is where you're going to customize the page, how it looks, where things are displayed so that you can get it to that perfect organization like you're looking for. And if you're somebody like me that makes a lot of changes, you can always lock the pages that you don't want any edits to so that it's going to stay in that format. Saves you a lot of time doing it that way. So that's the basics of how to navigate a page layout. Lastly, we're going to show you is how to change workspaces. If you had a different workspace right here, you can add that directly to this page and navigate through them directly from that page. And remember that workspaces have different permissions. You can be added to somebody else's workspace. You can create another workspace for yourself. You're going to have individual settings for that workspace, not the account. That's very important for that workspace. So if we come over here, navigate to the workspace, that's where it is one last time. And the last thing I want to show you is how to use search. Search is without a doubt the quickest way to find any page inside Notion. You can always use a great organization system, and you should, but if you know where to go and you can search it directly from here, or search the database that you're looking for, you're going to find your pages in seconds rather than like minutes. So if you come over here and search Subpage, you can go directly to it from there, and then using keyboard shortcuts you can start to see how you save time immensely when you stack these time-saving tips. Press Control K or Control P to bring up that same search menu and search from anywhere you are. It's the quickest way to find any page. I've already mentioned that, but it saves me a ridiculous amount of time. Can't stress it enough. And that's about it. Before we wrap up, let's summarize everything we've talked about. We covered 6 main things: the sidebar, creating pages, how to use content on those pages, the top bar, how to switch workspaces, and the search bar. All of these 6 features have different benefits that when you use them together, you're able to build a net of just wonderful features for yourself. Build your own personalized system and watch your productivity soar through the roof. So if this walkthrough helped you understand Notion, be sure to hit that like button, comment below whatever questions popped up throughout the video, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have a whole lot more coming to you. Let's get you up from that basic to advanced and as quick as possible. So if you have any questions, please comment below, and let's keep this ball moving.